Holy shit! We did it! We did it! We did it, oh my god. Been elected to the CSM X, CSM 10, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. Now, I am so excited about this that I'm not going to take the time to wait till I'm safely home in front of my video equipment to record this. So, just going to record it in my car on my commute home. Why not? You know, what could possibly go wrong? We're in New Jersey rush hour traffic, so it's not like I'm going more than 3 miles an hour anyway. But if I'm keeping my eyes on the road, that's why. Wow, this is really amazing. And by the way, I apologize for the quality. It's obviously just whatever my phone could do on the rear-facing camera. Anyway, what I really just want to say is thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who voted for me, who believed in my campaign message, who believe that we can improve not just the new player experience of EVE, but also the non-player experience, that we can look for ways to bridge PvE and PvP, that I will represent not just my subscribers and fans, but all new players, all jaded players, and kind of look forward to the future. And having watched and listened to a great deal of Fanfest presentations today, I have to say that I think the future of EVE is looking better than I could have possibly imagined. If you have not had a chance to view the Fanfest footage so far, the keynote and all the rest of it today, you owe it to yourself, because CCP has dropped crazy bombs today, crazy bombs. They have, I don't even know where to start. They announced the whole ship skinning system, which is gonna allow people to, you know, have per character skins that are licensed to them, all kinds of special skins that, I mean, they're gonna have an orange manticore. Like, it's a fucking wingspan manticore. I mean, it's not gonna be called that. I don't give a shit. That's what I'm gonna call it. I can't wait to have an inner zone shipping nemesis as well. Very hyped that you can change the ship skins in space in real time. You're gonna have skins for supers and all that stuff. They're gonna have all new structures. Like, structures are being redone from the ground up to be all player built, all like modular. The structures are gonna have a fitting window so that you can fit them and then sell them to other people. You're gonna be able to fit structures with guns and drones. Your players can dock to the structures. They can literally moor onto the structures. They showed screenshots of fucking Nixes and other ships attached to star bases. The bases are now gonna be like 100 kilometers wide. You can anchor them anywhere in space. So you can just make your goddamn space station in deep safes. I was so excited. I couldn't even breathe. I could not breathe. I'm like on my lunch break. I'm like dying. I'm chewing a sandwich. I'm dying. And people are coming up to me like trying to administer CPR because they think I'm choking. What else did they announce? What else did they announce? They're talking about all their, you know, long-term plans, that they're not going to fuck over capitals and supers. Now, we didn't really hear any details, but they're saying they will have a real role and it won't just be like a wormhole effect. That's great to hear. God, they talked about Valkyrie. They were showing the Valkyrie footage. The Valkyrie trailer was absolutely amazing. It just exceeded like 90% of my expectations. It looks like a real game. It looks intense. It looks fun. They didn't do an announcement for date. Obviously, their hands are kind of tied when it comes to dates, because it depends when Oculus Rift and Morpheus and all that stuff comes out. But it's just really, like, you could tell they spent the last year making a real game, and it looks really awesome. All the stuff with the Valkyrie, the lore behind it, just the general, you know, they did say that they want to focus on making a great game first. You know, that it's gonna be its own game, and they'll worry secondarily about connecting it to EVE, and that's fine, because I think what's important is obviously not fucking up on this game, essentially not pulling a dust by trying to force things in certain ways, and secondly by getting a great game out there on whatever platforms they release it on. Right now, I guess on PlayStation and PC, but then introducing people to the lore and the universe of EVE. So even if they've never played EVE Online, you have PS4 players jumping on and being like, oh, this is really cool. What are these? Who are the Amar? What is all this stuff? You look into and get interested in EVE Online. That's great from a marketing standpoint. Just really, really cool. We saw that CCP was announcing that they're going to start bringing real EVE merchandise. You know, the T-shirts, they're going to have ship models. They announced a fucking Nyx ship model that flies, that hovers in the air like it's a model, but it uses magnetic stuff. Like it's got, I'm sure it's going to be $1,000. But you know what? People have paid $1,000 real dollars to fly Nyx, I guess, in the form of like Plex and game time and all that stuff. So it's really not that crazy if you're flying that kind of craft. I would love, I mean, I don't have anywhere to put a flying Nyx model, and I'm pretty sure that I just wouldn't have anywhere in my house to put it. Don't care. put it in my car, throw it in the back, move the kid's seat over, put it in the Knicks. Sorry, the Knicks is my daughter now. There were so many amazing things. I don't even know. My mind is just overloading with the number of things they announced. They announced that they solved the Alliance logo fiasco legally, because before it was like, okay, well, if there's a logo in EVE, does CCP own it because it's in their game and they need it for marketing purposes or whatever, or do the player who designed it own it? Like if you're a designer and you designed a logo, like the CFC logo, like who owns that? So CCP has talked to the lawyers. This has been dragged on for years. They finally got it fixed, okay? And the solution makes sense, actually. And it was the person who designed the logo owns the logo, okay? But when you import it to EVE, EVE is gonna layer over it a small like effect, like it's gonna put a kind of like effect over the logo, and it's gonna put a little Concorde like symbol in the corner of the logo. So basically what that means is you still have the intellectual property for the logo you designed and you own, and CCP is going to have like an altered version of your logo only to use within EVE that they have limited rights to within there, which is a completely fair compromise. I think that's great. I personally was always nervous that, if the Wingspan, if there was a way to bring the Wingspan logo in, that'd be great. But obviously, Wingspan is more than just my corp. It's a logo that, is my logo. So I wouldn't want to like sign it off to CCP, and to know that this kind of like halfway point has been reached is just really good. I'm at a red light. That's the only way I'm looking at the camera this much. Oh my God. I mean, honestly, the whole thing with the new structures is really amazing to me, because what that means is they're not going to just fix POS code. They're going to replace POSes. Like there's going to be a new kind of POS, right? There's going to be all kinds of new stations. They're going to be modular. They're going to have all these different really interesting mechanics. They basically said that they're going to have like tiers. There's going to be like an ISIS, but instead for ships, for stations. And there's going to be tiers of structures for everyone. So for instance, you could have like, a research facility for a solo player. Like there could be a solo player POS all the way up to like a large alliance kind of POS to a station. There's going to be billboards, there's going to be advertising and propaganda. So you can essentially build a city in space, for yourself, by yourself. You live in some wormhole by yourself, go ahead, build your city in space. Build it a safe in the middle of nowhere, load it up with whatever modules you want. And there's going to be rigs for the structures too. So there's going to be really expensive. I mean, I can only imagine how much a Tech 2 rig for a fucking station is going to cost. But there's going to be serious investment in these things, serious personalization. It's going to feel like your space home. And this is really important because it's really going to tie into, and in my idea, like that sovereignty, like people are like, why should I fight for sovereignty? Like people are going to really invest in this stuff once it's out. And it's going to feel like something you own, something you want to fight for. I mean, I've always said I don't really want my corporation to hold structures and stuff, but once I see this coming out, like I'm going to start changing, I'm not saying I'm changing my mind, but I'm going to see like, is there anything about this that I can co-opt into our organization? Or maybe there's piecemeal parts that would have some kind of use. They even specifically said that there could be structures to mess with intelligence. So, I think that that's what they're talking about with the whole like, taking local out of nullsec. Well, maybe they're not just going to take it out. They're going to create a structure that if you build it in nullsec will remove local. And maybe you can do that offensively or defensively, which will just make things incredibly dynamic. Just make a lot of room for fighting, really. We saw some announcements about lore. There was this amazing trailer. Actually, there's two amazing trailers. One was about Valkyrie, but the second one was about the Jove and the Drifters, the Circadian Seekers, and the integration of the players in EVE with the actual lore. It was really amazing. It hints at a lot of crazy stuff. Like it hints at that the Jove or someone, the Circadian Sleepers, are taking Capsuleer corpses to stitch together into some fucking Frankenstein bodies, which is creepy as fuck. And not just creepy, but it's like, what impact would this have on the game? Will this mean that, implants are gonna get picked up by NPCs? Will it mean that you could fight a ghost version of yourself of the Jove putting bodies together? God damn, the sun's bright. Oh, Jesus Christ. Normally, the pollution cover in this state is thick enough that the sun can never actually touch your fragile skin. but in this case, it managed to get through. We got the HD texture pack was officially confirmed. So CCP had previously said that with Scylla, they're gonna start rolling out this modular download system where you can download parts of EVE at a time, not just the whole client, which is something like what Guild Wars and I believe Guild Wars 2 did, which worked out great for those games because they released a lot of updates, similar how EVE is releasing a lot of updates now. But one thing they said was that this is what allowed them to release a new skin system with the new, the new ship designs, but also to allow a couple other things, the Alliance logos, and now the HD texture pack. And they basically have extremely high-res textures available for every ship in the game, or they're going to have them very soon, but before they just felt bad, like they just don't want to force a gigantic many dozens of gigabyte downloads on people without giving them an option. But now there's going to be an option, Eve. Do you want the highest resolution textures? And if so, then it will stream them to you as you need them, but it's not going to force everyone to get them, which is just great. It's just a great thing to have. The last thing that I want to point out that they talked about Fanfest so far, and again, this is just day one of Fanfest, is that they're putting more data and stuff into EVE. So they released all this information about damage dealt and damage healed and all this other stuff like player actions. They're actually releasing that database of information so that capsule leaders will have stats on the things they've done. I believe over the last 2 years in EVE. I'm not sure if that was the limit of it or this is the start of it or what. I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting things done with that, both by just amateur people like to put together apps and things like that. But it would just be cool to see like how many ships have I blown up, like not just relying on plowing through the kill boards, or how much total damage have I done, or how many how many total torpedoes have I delivered, things like that. Like there's just no way to know. I can't read that many receipts. The other thing they did that was like this was they're adding an in-game fitting tool into EVE. Now, if you've been playing EVE Online for more than like, I don't know, like 2 months or so, you've probably gotten to the point now where you want to, you got to the point where you could fit a ship and you felt like, oh, I'm starting to understand how this works, but then you want to optimize the fitting. And there's always been a lot outside of EVE tools for that. So you got PIFA, you got EFT, you got a couple different tools, but they're all out of game tools. You have to go download. You got to download new versions whenever a patch comes out, and they're very good. They're very good, and they've helped me a lot figure out how to set up my bombers and stratioses and things like that. But of course, the problem is that it's not in the game. So first of all, not everyone knows about it. Secondly, some people are just too lazy or they don't trust amateur software to download. They're afraid it's going to give them a virus, or they get it, but then they're not even sure how to use it because there's no obvious support built in for it in that same way that in-game support or in-game help channel would be able to help. So now this in-game fitting tool, it's going to allow you to fit your ship, and there's actually what's called ghost fitting, where you can like drag in a ship that you don't actually own. You'll see like a wireframe outline of it. Then you can do all the fitting. It'll show you all your drone stats. It'll show you overheating, active versus non-active. So a lot, again, not 100% of what you get from EFT or PIFA or anything like that, but a lot of stuff that basically no one has right now. And this whole redoing of the fitting for both the ships and eventually for structures is just really great. It gives players a lot more tools in game. And again, they don't need every tool in game, but it's important to have this stuff because this is stuff that drives new players away. Because when new players fail to fit a ship and then they go out and get blown up and they don't understand what they did wrong or what they should have done, it just feels like futile. And giving people these kind of tools in game is just a great player retention tool. Obviously, all of this stuff so far, and like I said, it's literally just so far. There's gonna be more information. I encourage you to go check out the stream archives. Go watch it live if you haven't already, if you're watching this like right now, and there's still days left in FanFest. It's really you can tell I'm just full of energy. It's just been like in my head the whole time, and I'm just really excited. And obviously, I'm really humbled and happy to be part of CSMX. I'm just overcome. I really don't have the words for it, but I certainly promise that I will do my best, that I will put in the work that I promised to do, that will bring the issues that I promised for everyone who voted for me in front of CCP. And then of course I'm also going to not overstep. I know what I know and I know what I don't know. I've seen a lot of jokes on Reddit lately that I don't know what a demos is. All right, it's true. I wasn't 100% sure. But I hope people understand that I have to play this stuff up too. There's a certain certain level of theatrics that are required for running a YouTube channel. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much, CCP. Thank you for bringing awesome stuff to FanFest this year. I guess I'm going to be putting together some kind of plan, by the way, because I do want to use my YouTube channel insofar as I'm allowed to. Like, I know a lot of the CSM members still have blogs and things like that, and I know I'll have an NDA and there's things I can't talk about in the CSM, but I do want to put together some kind of weekly, bi-weekly or monthly kind of thing to get the feedback from you, my subscribers, in the greater EVE community, and also, you know, to share ideas back. So anything that I can do as, you know, as a YouTuber, essentially, to help, you know, bridge the players and the devs for CSM 10, and even to help the other CSM members reach people, because I know not all of them, while some of them are very famous and they have blogs and they have the large alliances, some of them do not have that kind of reach. So if there's something I can do, maybe I'll put together some interviews or something like that and help their constituents bridge also in, then that's something I'd be glad to do as part of the new CSM. So everyone, thank you very much. Once again, I am Wingspan TT, Chance Ravinne, in-game CEO of WINGSPAN Delivery Services, and your newest CSM member. I look forward to seeing the rest of what Fanfest has to offer, and now I'm going to pay attention to the road. Cheers.